Spain's music market grew 13.7% in 2025. And if you think that's just some boring industry number buried in a Billboard report, you need to stop and think about what that actually means. That is not a small jump. That is not some gradual, slow-moving shift that happened quietly while nobody was watching. That is a market that exploded, that cracked open at the seams and shot upward in a way that made the whole global music industry sit down and pay attention. And behind all of it, sitting right at the center of that storm, are two names that by now you already know: Bad Bunny, ROSALÍA. Two artists from the Spanish-speaking world who didn't just drop records, they rewired the entire conversation around what Latin music could be, where it could go, and who it could reach. The kind of artists that don't just feed off a market, but build a bigger one just by showing up. Welcome to Pop Showroom, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. Let's slow down for a second and really put this in context, because numbers without context are just noise. Spain's music market is not some baby industry finding its legs. Spain has a long, deep, complex music history that stretches back centuries, and its modern music scene has been commercially active and globally connected for decades. For that market to grow 13.7% in a single year, that is not evolution. That is disruption. That is the kind of growth that makes executives call emergency meetings, that makes labels rethink their entire signing strategies, that makes the old guard look over their shoulder and wonder what just happened. And when you trace back the line of what cost it, it always leads back to those two names, every single time. Now here is where it gets interesting, because Bad Bunny and ROSALÍA are not the same kind of artist, not even close. They came from different places, they built their lanes differently, and the way they operate in the industry could not be more different on the surface. But what they share is something that cannot be faked, cannot be manufactured in a boardroom, and cannot be taught in any music school on earth. They both have that thing, that pull, that quality that makes you stop whatever you are doing when their music comes on, that makes you feel like you are not just hearing a song, but being let into something real, something that was made for you specifically, even though you know millions of other people feel exactly the same way. That is the gift. And when two people like that are operating at the same time in the same cultural space, something shifts, something big. Bad Bunny's story by itself is almost too wild to believe if you did not watch it happen in real time. A kid from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, bagging groceries, uploading songs to SoundCloud, grinding in a world where the traditional gatekeepers of the industry had no idea what to do with him. His sound did not fit any box they had ready. His look did not match any template they were comfortable with. He was doing things with reggaeton and trap and Latin pop that felt chaotic to outsiders, but felt completely natural to anyone who understood where he came from, what he was drawing from, and what he was trying to say. And then, almost like the industry blinked and missed it, he was not underground anymore. He was everywhere. He was on every chart, in every conversation, on every phone, in every club, streaming at numbers that made people question whether the platforms were broken. He was not just a Latin artist crossing over. He was redefining what crossing over even meant. He was not coming to the mainstream on the mainstream's terms. The mainstream was coming to him. By the time we get to 2025, Bad Bunny has done something that almost nobody in the history of recorded music has done at his level. He has stayed at the absolute top of the game for years without losing an ounce of credibility with the people who knew him before the world caught up. That is the hardest thing in music. You can blow up overnight. Anybody can blow up overnight if the algorithm catches you right and the timing is perfect. But to stay up, to keep the streets with you while the stadiums are full, to keep making music that feels dangerous and honest while your name is on billboards in Times Square, that is something else entirely. That is what separates the artists from the superstars. And Bad Bunny did not just stay up, he went higher. Every year, another level. Every project, another statement. Every tour, another record broken. Spain felt all of that. Spanish audiences, Spanish streams, Spanish ticket sales, all of it moved because he moved. Then there's ROSALÍA, and if you think you understand what she did by just hearing her name mentioned alongside Bad Bunny, you are only getting half the picture. ROSALÍA came out of Barcelona with a background in classical Spanish flamenco, which was already an outlier in a modern pop landscape that was moving further and further away from roots music. But she did not just bring flamenco into a pop song and call it fusion. She dismantled flamenco, studied every bone and nerve in its body, and then rebuilt something new from the inside out. Her first album was already enough to make the serious music people stop and stare. Her second album made the entire world stop and stare. And then came Motomami, and something happened that you cannot fully explain with words. That album broke every rule, and somehow made every rule feel irrelevant. Critics who spent years building frameworks for how to evaluate music had to throw those frameworks out and start over. Fans who never listened to anything in Spanish were streaming it obsessively, not even sure why, just knowing that whatever it was, they needed more of it. What ROSALÍA did to Spain's identity in the global music conversation cannot be overstated. For a long time, the narrative around Spain and music was complicated. The country had produced incredible talent across many genres and eras, but there was always this sense that the cultural exports traveling the furthest were coming from Latin America, from the Caribbean, from Mexico, from Colombia, while Spain itself was sometimes overlooked in those conversations. ROSALÍA changed that completely. She put Barcelona on the map in a way that felt new and permanent. She made Spanish music something that the most critically respected voices in music were debating in the same breath as the most commercially dominant forces on Earth. And when those two things align, when critical prestige and commercial dominance start moving in the same direction, markets grow, money flows, numbers go up, 13.7% up to be specific. But here's the thing that the industry report cannot capture, the thing that no percentage can fully explain. The growth in Spain's music market is not just about streams and sales and tour revenue, though all of those things are real and significant. It's about something deeper, something that happens when a culture decides it's done being a supporting character in someone else's story and starts writing its own. Bad Bunny and ROSALÍA did not just sell music in Spain. They gave the entire Spanish-speaking world a permission slip, a confirmation that you don't need to sand down your edges, dilute your language, or compromise your sound to reach a global audience. You can be from where you were from, sound like where you were from, sing in the language you grew up speaking, and still make the whole world lean in. That is the gift. And when two people like that are operating at the same time in the same cultural space, something shifts, something big.
Growth like that does not happen by accident. It never does. Behind every market explosion, there's always a story, always a moment where something shifted, always a person or a force that pushed the whole thing forward. In Spain in 2025, those forces have faces, they have names, they have voices that you know, whether you speak their language or not. And if you're paying attention to where music is going, where culture is going, where the whole conversation around what it means to be global and local at the same time is heading, then you are watching Spain right now. Because whatever comes next out of that market, after a year like this, after numbers like these, after artists like these set the table, you can bet it is going to be worth paying attention to. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.